Hello everyone, this is Zeeebo and welcome to this AFK journey video. So in today's AFK journey video, we're going to talk about Saida, more specifically the Immortal team. Okay, so this Saida Unkillable Immortal team is actually really strong because I've been testing this team out yesterday and I left it on defense, so I do have a few replays to showcase the battles. But let's run through the units here and discuss about how this Immortal team works. Okay, so first of all, we're running Danlia as the tank because with all the units in the collection in the Pioneer server, and Danlia is there to prevent the Cryonaya Pandora combo from going off too quickly. If not, Cryonaya will be able to insta-kill most of the units that can revive, and then this is where your store team or your Immortal team will just melt to Cryonaya. So that's why we're using Danlia right here. So obviously in Danlia's slot, if your opponent doesn't have that much Cryonaya, then what you can do is use other tanks that can tank on the front line and soak damage and just store out the battle. So that's the idea for our Dan in the team. And then we have Talin, obviously, additional damage, additional life for Danlia, and also just the immortal nature of the team. And then we have Atalia right here, additional damage, semi-immortal or technically immortal because she can go into the lens form even if she die, and we can actually use her to snipe down potential hyper carry teams because of Atalia's sniping potential. So that's Atalia's inclusion. We have Pandora right here to accelerate the ultimate for our Saida. So Pandora is an amazing support in PvP, being able to accelerate the ultimate of one of your carries. So in this case, we are using Saida as the main carry. So Saida is able to basically be immortal if she's able to spam the ultimate. So we are buffing her up with Pandora's box and also the Danlia's buff right here. So we are using the anti-ultimate buff because we want to prevent the opposing Cryonaya from sniping us. So that's the idea of this team. And we are using it in this position because I'm not sure whether or not this is the most ideal. What this position does is give 2 shielding to our Atalia as well as Pandora. So Pandora being alive is important because Pandora needs to survive when the ally exits the box blessing right here in order to give the 1000 energy. So in the event if the opponent is not running Danlia, then our Saida will be able to get off her ultimate 4 seconds into battle and get that steamrolling going for her, because the more ultimate she casts, the more seeds she produces, the more impactful she becomes. So without further ado, let us showcase a few battles with this team. Okay, so I think this team is actually really strong. It's able to go head to head with a lot of meta team ideas, but I guess Kulu is going to be a really good answer to this because Kulu being able to limit the space for melee units limits the ability of our Saida. So we have a few replays, let's run through them. So yesterday, let's run through the idea of this team. Like, I think this team is generally one which appears to be really weak at first glance, but is able to turn the tides of battle because the unit just keeps on casting their skill and keeps on sticking around on the battlefield that you will eventually wither the opponent down. Like, that's just how powerful the unit is the longer the fight draws out, because we have the likes of Atalia doing a lot of damage, we have Saida doing damage as well, and then we have Saida just being the body that keeps on coming back to life, allowing units such as Atalia, such as Damien, such as Talin to do their stuff. And one thing that's good about Saida right here is whenever she comes back to life, the debuff that was applied to her will be removed. And with Pandora in the team, we have this really good control ability that becomes even more effective the longer the fight draws out. So you can play a store team variant with this team, and this team is able to do a lot of damage the longer the fight draws out. So right here, we are able to win this Igor hard to deal with immortal team idea right here. And this is the fight. Okay, you can see that our units actually fell really early, but we were able to turn the tides of battle. And then let's take a look at this one. Okay, so pretty similar team setup, but this is with Saida and Atalia, so let's take a look. Okay, so we have done. So like I mentioned earlier, in the earlier part of the team introduction, the reason why we are putting Dan on the defense is because Cryonaya is gonna be able to insta-kill the Saida pretty easily, right, if she's able to come online. So the purpose of Dan is to slow down the opposing Cryonaya, and even if the opponent actually slows down our Saida's ultimate cast with his own Danlia, it's fine, because the idea of this team is not Saida spamming the ultimate. is the whole team just being able to survive long enough to do what they want to do. So that's why we have a Dunlia. Okay. Yep, so same thing. Our teams actually started to melt really quickly, but then eventually we were able to turn the tides of battle, and our Saida is able to outstore and just win the fight. Okay, pretty good stuff. So this is the damage. Let's take a look at the damage distribution once again. So in terms of the damage distribution, I think Atalia is still the main damage dealer for the team. So Atalia is still going to be really crucial. And I think Atalia on her own is actually really impactful. But I think this combo or this Immortal team idea won't be possible without Saida, because the more ultimate Saida casts or the more seeds Saida can plant, the higher chance this team actually wins the fight because of the store nature. Yeah, so right here, as you guys can see, the longer Saida stays around, the more she's able to do and the more impactful she becomes. So let's take a look at this one. This is Belrun together with Saida as well as Dunlia on the opposing team. Okay. So I don't agree with this idea with the Belrun team build, because I think there isn't a lot of healing support for Belrun in the opposing team setup. Yeah. So the opposing Belrun is not as impactful or is not activated ASAP, and then might not be able to do as much. So that's that. Okay, but good try. So right here, most of my units fell, and in most cases, it would have been a loss, right? But because our Saida is able to come back to life, our units are able to do stuff, even if they are dead, we are able to win the fight. Okay. So that's that. Pretty funny stuff. Like, I think this team is a team which doesn't showcase the result until the very end, because it's really dependent on how many seeds your Saida can plant on the battlefield. So the more seeds you're able to plant, the higher chance you can win. So there are cases which we lost. So I guess in the event which we lost, this was actually one which was really close. I think Kulu is going to be a really good answer for Saida, because what Kulu does is Kulu actually has this wall in the middle of the battlefield. So it's a permanent disruption. And if you run multiple melee units, I guess your melee units efficiency will be much lower. So it's not unbeatable, but I think it's going to be challenging because of how fundamentally Kulu is meant to counter melee unit. So Saida, even though is very impactful, the more ultimate she's able to cast, when you get this like wall blocking her out, preventing her from moving towards the enemy or just casting her skill, like it's just gonna slow down her efficiency or make her less effective. So this is one way to do it, right? Even though she's still able to cast a skill, she's still able to move around, but being able to slow her down, being able to reduce the number of seeds she's able to plant is, I'll say, enough to actually make her less effective. So that's for this fight over here. I think we lost this one, but the system recorded it as a win, so that's that. Okay. So like Pandora Box is just supporting the whole team in the background, and then in this team variant we actually ran Damien because we wanted that Damien sustain for the team. Okay, and then I think our Saida actually died first. Yeah, because we got blocked out, right? Oh wait, we actually won this one. Okay, so this was the fight that we won, so that's that. But I think Kulu is gonna be a good answer for Saida in general. And let's take a look at the one that we lost, for example. Oh yeah, so this is with Kulu with Atalia and Saida. Okay, so right here, as you guys can see, so I think in this case, Taileen's probably not like a good unit in this kind of situation, because Damien's probably better because Damien gives you that additional damage and disruption and also heal to just make sure that your Saida can stay alive longer or just stay alive more effectively in a long fight. So yep, we clumped up, we got nuked down, and then even though the opposing Saida is not doing much, we basically got slowed down, and yeah, we weren't able to plant as much seed, and then we just lost to all the different nukes and obviously the twin support from the opposing side. So that's it for this video. Thank you very much for tuning in, and I'll see you guys again in my next video. Bye guys!